Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and I wish you, late, happy Hobbit Anniversary. Now, The Hobbit, the novel written by John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, came out the 21st of September 1937, which was 2 days ago. And I wanted to make this video the day before yesterday, but honestly, I wasn't in the mood. This is just life. You are not always in the mood for, well, making YouTube videos. Sometimes life gets in the way. But I needed to make this. I might be talking about comic books, mostly on my channel, but the fact remains that fantasy, and especially Tolkien, is something that has defined my life, and that I cherish above all fiction and works of art, like in general, ever created in the history of human creations. It has defined my life in such an extent that not only are all the books that Tolkien wrote, and not only his fiction, like The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and then later published by his son Christopher, as far as his father goes, posthumously, the Silmarillion and the Unfinished Tales, and now more recently things like Beren and Luthien, which is just an extended version of that story, which we can find in the Silmarillion. Things like the Letters from Father Christmas and Farmer Giles of Ham, but also Tolkien's academic essays and texts, because yes, he was a fantasy writer and is most certainly the best and the greatest fantasy writer of all. But first and foremost, he was an academic, he was a linguist, he was a scholar, he was a philologist, he was a master in studying, teaching and creating languages. He was a wonderful man, and not only that, not only did he teach Old English and Old English literature at Oxford University, but he devoted his entire life to, studying the history of languages, Old English, Old Icelandic, Old Norse, and creating his own artificial languages, such as the Elvish languages, and the Sindarin, and so on and so forth. So that made me pursue a similar career in my life. I read The Hobbit for the first time when I was, I think, 7 or 8, and that made me fall in love in literature, and later it led me to other fantasy stories and other fantasy writers, and ultimately it led me to start being interested in mythology and legends, especially in the old European myths, the Norse mythology, Celtic mythology, the mythology of the Slavs, and in legends, and all these things. I studied these things at university. First, I wrote my bachelor thesis on the usage of runes, runic letters in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. I wrote my diploma thesis on the alliterative verse as written by the authors and poets in the 20th century. And then the academia got a lot worse than it was before, or had been before, and it got very leftist, and basically people like me have nothing to do there. The old values have died at universities, in academia, and nobody really, at least in my country, in the Czech Republic, nobody really gives a damn about old literature. Everybody's crazy about, ists and isms and SJW bullcrap, and things that I'm not really interested about. So yeah, that's my story. At the time, they sent Tolkien to a little office, and they didn't really like him. So they said to him, yeah, go to that office and teach your bloody Beowulf if you want. We like the modernists, so fuck off. Well, then he wrote his magnificent stories and proved that they are wrong, those well, his colleagues. I don't know if something similar will happen to me. I don't think so. But, nevertheless, that was my story. Me and Tolkien, me and the Hobbit, and I just wanted to share with you my life story with the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings and fantasy genre, the history of the languages, because also thanks to Tolkien I self-study the Old English. So yeah, that's it. But to finish this off, I'd like to honor Professor Tolkien by reading a passage from The Hobbit. This is my reading copy, by the way, the one that I carry around. And I think that it is most appropriate to read the first page and a bit, because it is how it all began. And why not? Chapter 1. An unexpected party. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. Not a nasty, dirty, wet hole filled with the ends of worms and an oozy smell, not yet a dry, bare, sandy hole with nothing in it to sit down on or to eat. It was a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. It had a perfectly round door like a porthole, painted green with a shiny yellow brass knob in the exact middle. The door opened to a tube-shaped hall, like a tunnel. A very comfortable tunnel without smoke, with panelled walls and floors tiled and carpeted, provided with polished chairs and lots of pegs for hats and coats. The Hobbit was fond of visitors. The tunnel wound on and on, going fairly but not quite straight into the side of the hill. The hill, as all the people for many miles around called it. And many little round doors opened out of it, first on one side and then on another. No going upstairs for the Hobbit. Bedrooms, bathrooms, cellars, pantries, lots of these. Wardrobes, he had whole rooms devoted to clothes. Kitchens, dining rooms, all were on the same floor, and indeed on the same passage. The best rooms were all on the left-hand side, going in, for these were the only ones to have windows, deep, set round windows looking over his garden and meadows beyond, sloping down to the river. This Hobbit was a very well-to-do Hobbit, and his name was Baggins. The Bagginses had lived in the neighbourhood of the hill for time out of mind, and people considered them very respectable, not only because most of them were rich, but also because they never had any adventures or did anything unexpected. You could tell what a Baggins would say on any question without the bother of asking him. This is a story of how a Baggins had an adventure, and found himself doing and saying things altogether unexpected. He may have lost the neighbours' respect, but he gained, well, you will see whether he gained anything in the end. It always gives me goosebumps. See, look at my hairy hand. Right, so this is it, my friends. This is true escapism. This is heaven. When everything goes down, when everything gets crappy, we will always, see, I can't even talk anymore. When everything goes down, when everything gets crappy, we will always have literature. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, Tolkien. You've saved my life more than once. So a bit late, but still, happy Hobbit Day, the 21st of September, and I will never forget. What about you, my friends? Let me know in the comments down below if you've read The Hobbit, if you've read anything else by Tolkien, if you like fantasy, myths, legends, old languages, things like that. That will be all from me, my friends. See you soon. Bye.